A lot of people these days reckon all the major religions are basically the same. They would acknowledge that they're not entirely the same, but they still think the core teachings are more similar than they are different. They're all about God, right? And aren't they all trying to help people be better versions of themselves, make the world a better place? Yeah, there might be different paths, but don't they all ultimately lead to the top of the same mountain? They're good questions, aren't they? And they often reflect a very noble desire for unity. But in my view, these kinds of questions are ultimately naive. I see two problems with the idea that all the religious paths lead to the same destination. The first problem is that it doesn't ultimately respect the uniqueness of the different paths. If we want to live in a society that's genuinely tolerant of difference, we need to be really good listeners. So when it comes to religion, or any worldview for that matter, we have to really hear what people are actually saying. And when you do listen very carefully to the different religions, you find they're not saying the same thing at all. So we don't ultimately respect one another when we say that all the religious paths lead to the top of the same mountain. The second problem I see is that this view can't really account for Jesus Christ. Jesus teaches that true religion is not a path up a mountainside at all. We don't seek God, He seeks us. The truth about God is something only God can reveal. If I can put it like this, the Christian faith is about God coming down from the top of the mountain to us in the person of Jesus Christ. And in John's Gospel, chapter 14, verse 6, we read these words of Jesus. I am the way and the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. This is what Jesus says, that He is the way to God, that He embodies and speaks the truth about God, that He is the life of God in human form, God come down to us. And He says that there's no way of knowing God or going to God except through Him. Now that may not sound like a very popular or inclusive thing for Jesus to say, especially not to our modern ears. But Jesus didn't set out to be popular or inclusive. His concern was to reveal God and the truth about God to the world. And that remains His concern today. And that's why everyone on earth really needs to account for Jesus Christ. When He said there's no way of knowing God or going to God without Him, was He right or wrong? It can't be both. And that's why I hope everyone I meet will give that some thought. Have you? I'll leave you again with the words of Jesus. He said, I am the way and the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me.